up around music to an extent. Well, so Ben and I put an ad in the Creative Loafing, which, you know, if any musician ever tries to get an ad out, Creative Loafing's a place to do it. But we didn't get the right people to call us because of our musical influences listed. We had like all these. The average age was about 32 years old, just calling up saying, "Hey, I think what you're doing is pretty cool. I haven't played drums in about 10 years, but." Oh, I'm kind of rambling, aren't I?
No, really, it's okay.
My parents always supported me in music, and my dad always said from the very start that, you know, I could be a ballet dancer and he wouldn't care, you know, not as if to insinuate that that's altogether bad, but I've never been much for dance myself. So he's when I chose, you know, music as my path, he pretty much said, you know, was delighted because he could never play it as a you know, when he was my age, and so he just, you know, it's like I was kind of trying out what he'd never had the time or will to do. He'd always told me that the only thing he had with guitar was he'd bought a Hawaiian lap steel guitar and hooked it up and would tinker with it until his friends and him got bored and hooked a microphone up to it and would yell at people from their front porch, you know, passing by in the street. You know, that was about the extent of his musical practice. But my mom and her sisters always, you know, sang a lot, and, you know, at home, and I guess she sang a lot with, you know, me when I was a kid. Kind of got that, you know, early musical training, I guess. Well, I love my friends and they love me. I guess they were my better half. They kind of introduced me to concepts I could, you know, never really come up with on my own in the same situation, and you know, I do the same to them. You know, together we kind of form an entity of ideas, I guess. We've always been a really good team. I think one of the big difficulties with being a musician is, you know, figuring out exactly where you're going to go. You know, I guess from the start, you know, my vague perception of a goal is I want to be in music. You know, it's really hard to nail down exactly what you want to do. You know, I guess wherever I find myself, as long as I'm surrounded by it, I'll be happy with it. You know, being in a band, being a music teacher, any kind of thing that brings me, you know, keeps me in music, I guess. One of the hardest things about being a soloist, I'd say, is finishing what you start. It's very easy to lay down an idea initially and get halfway through it and then have an idea for a new project, which I'm no stranger to at all. I have many half-finished projects that I could introduce to you, and only a few of them I've actually finished all the way to the end. I've been in 3 bands, I'd say. Actually, more like 2.5, because one never got off the ground. The first one I'd say I was in was the one that didn't get off the ground. The second one was this alternative band that you know, the music preference was just not there, and I just didn't fit in musically. And the third one, I just wasn't ready with my voice at that stage to quite do justice to the music, which I loved, you know. So that never quite made it anywhere. The band I'm in now, it's really terrific because we're all wanting to go in the same direction, but you know, I'm also leaving room for the fact that
You must always remember when forming a band that after the initial first month or so of heavy practice, everybody's bad side will start to come out, which is inevitable, um, and you'll start to see in kind of the annoying side, which can only be hidden for so long. And I think the trick to that is just living with it and kind of going for the good of the band. I'd say saying I'll change, the other guy's getting really annoyed at your attitude, and then saying I'll change, for the band is just for me uh, just suicide because it just can't be done. I guess just living with the other person has got to be an ultimate thing of patience.
Navy wants me.